I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning! Happy Holy Week. Yes, it all begins tonight. Oh, welcome in. The string of days finally begins. We cannot wait with, of course, the ultimate Notre Dame, Penn State, taking us through Eagles, Packers, NFL playoffs. But that's right, tonight in the Orange Bowl, Irish and the Knicks. Oh, this is fantastic. Welcome into the Anthony Gargano Show. We are presented by Rite Aid. Yes, go to riteaid.com for the store and pharmacy nearest you. Yeah, we're going to have you all set up. Adam Taliferro will join us to talk a lot about the Knicks a little bit later on. Booger McFarland will join. Looking forward to talking to Boog, one of the preeminent college football analysts, ABC, ESPN. He's going to join us coming up as well. We got our man from the editor's desk, Pat McLoone, to go through it all. But we begin with Holy Week, and that's what it is. For those of us that worship at the altar of football, this is Holy Week. This begins a stretch of incredible games that matter, 8 of them all together in a row. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night. And it begins with a matchup that I'm really excited for. I told the story earlier in the week. I was at the 1992 Snow Bowl at Notre Dame, Penn State, Notre Dame. It was a classic. It was an instant classic. I was there actually with all my friends. They came in. I was living in Chicago. They came in from Philadelphia. I covered the game for the Bucks County Courier-Times. I was a young reporter. In fact, I was so excited to cover that game that I wanted to make every word sing, right? So I'm writing my story. And, you know, back then you had the time. It was an afternoon game, right? So I had all day and night to file my story. Not like today where it's instantaneous. So I had all day to file my story. Of course, I took forever. I was up in the press box. I was like the second to last one in the press box. My buddies were all roaming the field. They looked down. They were actually on the field. In fact, after the game, after I finally come down, I set my story, they started calling me my left foot because they said I was writing with my left foot. It was an epic game. And all these years later, here it is. They meet in the semifinals for college football championship. And it's very much a story for us in that Notre Dame, because Temple wasn't, very good as a college football powerhouse, there were so many Notre Dame fans. I mean, growing up, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, obviously because of the Irish descent, people cleaved, right? A lot of Irish people cleaved to Notre Dame, Irish Catholic. I mean, that was a big deal. It was Notre Dame football. And a lot of the pockets, in fact, there's a great story in the Inquirer today talking about, the Northeast, South Philly, Grace Ferry, 2nd Street, right? All your Irish pockets, now Delaware County, where that are like huge Notre Dame. Notre Dame was always a big deal. When I was in New York, same thing. They loved Notre Dame. I used to have to, I went and I loved it. Every year would go and do a big Notre Dame preview. I'd go to South Bend and I probably covered at least a dozen of those games. during my time at the Post, and I would preview them every year because there was a big deal. The Subway alumni, they called it. Like Notre Dame was a big, lot of Notre Dame fans. The early days of sports talk radio, there was a caller to WIP, Notre Dame Harvey, and he would just call up, talk about Notre Dame. Like, it was classic. And on the flip side, obviously, PSU, right? We don't, because Temple wasn't a big powerhouse other than the Matt Rule years, Penn State was our de facto college football team. A lot of people in the area went to Penn State. And then, of course, Joe Paterno. And a lot of ways, Paterno was, because of the Italian community, they loved Joe, right? Joe was the Coke bottle glasses. He was the Vince Lombardi of college football. And a lot of people love Penn State because Penn State was a great program, right? Like, we're talking about a huge powerhouse. And I brought this up yesterday, but I'll never forget, every Saturday morning, he had the Joe Paterno show. Sunday morning with the Notre Dame highlights. I mean, that was college football. For us here in the Northeast in Philadelphia, college football was Penn State, Notre Dame, and here they are squaring off for the right to play for the national championship. It's in the Orange Bowl in Miami. It's a great setting, man. I cannot wait for the game. And again, it brings in the 8 games that we're going to see. It starts tomorrow night, Texas, Ohio State, which I think is going to be a really good game. And then, of course, the playoffs begin on Saturday with the Chargers and the Texans. Saturday night, Ravens, Steelers. Funny, I was talking to the Brain last night. We did our Cousin's Corner. You can check that out because we go through each of the games from a betting perspective, and the Brain gives you his handicap. But both of us like Pittsburgh in that game. Those Zay Flowers, and I think Baltimore could struggle. The Steelers could shock the world in that game. And then it leads into Sunday, Broncos, Bills, and then, of course, the game we can't wait for. Eagles, Packers, 4:30. Look, Jalen kind of knew that he was there, and he practiced, and today he'll get out of protocol. He's ready to go. Jordan Love has a little bit of an elbow issue. It was weird. He was very kind of lukewarm. He's like, yeah, I should be fine. I should play. It's like, what? Like in Philadelphia, we would be sounding the alarms. He'll play, but I don't know. I mean, maybe the elbow could be dinged a little bit. Either way, without Christian Watson, the game's going to be in his hands. I mean, that Fangio is going to say, hey, look, we're going to take away Jacobs, and we're going to force Jordan Love to throw. And I think the same thing's going to happen with Green Bay. And they're going to force Jalen to throw, try to take away Saquon, and, make this thing, put the game in the hands of the quarterbacks. I think that'll happen. I do think the Eagles are in a much better place to handle the Packers with those quarterbacks as opposed to the Packers secondary. So the Eagles secondary, to me, and their defense is the difference in this game. I have no worry about the game. None. I mean, I'm not with VG. VG says they win by 3 touchdowns. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be somewhat sweat-free. First half may be close, and in the second half, they kind of pull away. Is kind of how I'm vibing. Good morning, my boy.
What's up, brother?
What do you say there?
Go Birds. That's what I say. Go Birds, go Birds, go Birds. And we are Penn State.
Gonna lose.
We are Penn
Gonna
State.
lose.
So you got Penn State.
I got to go Penn State, man. I got no connection to Notre Dame other than a hate. Every week they're even if they stink, they were the national game. It was an NBC.
Well, they had their own TV network.
Oh yeah, it's like just too much of it. All these dudes from my neighborhood, these Irish dudes in my neighborhood I went to school with, all Notre Dame up. Get out of here. Couldn't name one guy. They couldn't name one guy on the team. They just know they got the fighting leprechaun. Get out of here.
Yeah,
go
man.
Penn State. Nits.
Go
all
Irish.
Nits.
That's Frazier. Frazier's got the ND hat.
and a sweatshirt.
He's got the ND sweatshirt.
The crew
and
neck
sweatshirt.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm
the
geared
gold,
up.
The gold chain over top of it.
I'm
It's
geared
all
up.
golden
Yeah,
up.
he's got the gold chain. He got the. What's with the chain, cuz?
It's nice, man. I like it.
Put yourself in the box so people can see you with the chain.
Yeah,
All right,
let's
yeah, all
show
right.
off that chain
All right.
with that crew neck.
You got It's not. It's
All
not.
right, I'm gonna
I love the
buy.
hat. That's a classic.
That is a classic good hat.
I love that hat.
Yeah.
You're right. That hat is one of the best.
Yeah, get that chain going.
There he is. He's all Andrew Fraser.
Yeah, Irish.
Proud Irishman.
I am.
Neither of you really care about the sport.
I've got into it this year.
I got into it this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
This game tonight or the next 3 days or whatever?
It's Holy Week.
Yeah.
For those of us that worship football.
College football.
Well, all
I mean, I
football.
worship football.
But college is a part of it.
Yeah, college is like catechism class. Like, all right, you gotta sit through
Nah, dude, it's the greatest. I love it. I love it as much as the NFL.
You sitting around with a little Colt Cannon or some soda bread tonight with your Irish watching the game. What are you guys doing?
Have a nice Guinness.
Yeah, do a little Guinness.
I know my boy. I asked Boo. I go, dude, what are you doing for the game? He's I'm going to be home.
Corned beef and cabbage.
Bummed me out. I wanted to go out and watch the game. I was going to come over his house watch the game.
Uber into town. I'll watch the game with you.
You know, you come in and watch. I mean, it's funny. We used to spend every Saturday, we would play football, and then we would go to the Palladium.
All right.
My buddy Toots, Joe Ben. Joe Ben's a big Penn State guy, right? He's a huge Penn State guy. So Toots, Joe Ben, Boo, we would play football in the morning with a bunch of guys down Marconi Plaza, and then we would spend we'd go to the Palladium at like noon, and we wouldn't leave until like 10 o'clock. We'd watch
stumbling out at 10 o'clock.
Sounds like a good time.
3:30 games.
Yeah.
The SEC game at 7, and then we get ready to go out for the night.
So what's bringing that? Like, I look at this as an okay, better, average amateur better. And I look at this and it's screaming Penn State to me tonight, the line. 1.5, it hasn't budged. The world is all over Notre Dame as it is.
I didn't see the numbers.
Yeah. It was a heavy lean on the money side of Notre Dame.
I'll be honest with you. I try to handicap this game
from
a who's going to win perspective, not a betting perspective. But when I match the game up, it's so evenly matched.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone through it 7 weeks from Sunday, and I mean, here's the deal. Penn State offense, it's you got 2 great backs, 2 really good backs, Singleton and Allen, right?
A good tight end, I hear.
Well, the best tight end, right? Like Warren will be the top tight end taken. He's going to be a great pro. He'll be every bit of Brock Bowers. He's a beast.
Baldy called him the next Gronk.
He is. He's I mean, I've been saying that forever. The kid's a great player. Now, here's the deal. Now, Allar, who I love, I've always liked I think he's got a great arm, right? He's going to have to there's plays to be made against the secondary of Notre Dame. Notre Dame's defense is very good, but you saw against Georgia, there were plays down the field that were made, and Georgia had a lot of drops. So Allar can make plays down the field.
All right.
Now, it's going to be up to him. He has not really played well.
See,
first 2 games.
I've heard a lot of hype on him this year, and I've watched some Penn State. He doesn't really impress me when I watch them play.
He's got a great arm. I love his arm. He really does. He's got to get better at playing the position, and he's got to get better at his accuracy and his reads. He's got a ways to go, but he's got a big arm. He can make all the throws. He can throw it out. Like, he can do all that, but he's got to get better at his reads. Seeing stuff early, getting the ball out quicker. So that's kind of where he's at. They can run the ball, but Notre Dame's front is good, right? So I don't know how successful, as good as Singleton and Allen are, I don't know how successful they're going to have run the ball. They're going to have to loosen them up by throwing it.
Let me ask you this. For us who are like, casual fans, want to get a little fun tonight, I like a good tease. So Penn State at 7.5 seems like a good bet. Tease at 1.5 up.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Over like 38.5?
Well, I mean,
would you rather go under 50.5?
I mean, probably under, but here's the thing. I told Brad yesterday I like the over, but only because everybody's on the under, and sometimes the way the matchup is, they're two under teams, right? They're two teams that are going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to work clock. And sometimes, because I think they'll stack the front and force the quarterbacks to make plays. Like for Notre Dame, it's going to come down to Riley Leonard, right? Leonard is going to have – they have a great running back who's a little dinged up in Love. But Leonard's going to have to make plays. He ran a lot, but he's going to have to make plays with his arm because, again, Penn State secondaries can be had.
Okay.
They're going to have to make plays. So how I'm looking at it is I can see the game kind of becoming a little bit of not a shootout like, Ohio State, Oregon, but I can see it being a little bit of a shootout where there's some points being scored down the field. There's some big plays.
All right.
That's what I can see.
I'm teasing.
Actually, what I suggest you do is tease Penn State with Texas.
That's no fun. Then I got to wait. I need immediate satisfaction. I got to tease Penn State.
You can't
with
wait. You can't wait till tomorrow.
I can't wait for another bet to finish settle tomorrow night. No,
no,
dude, that's no fun at all.
Yeah, but then if Penn State wins, you got something. You got something on the line.
I feel good. Penn State. I'm looking at bet parts. Penn State plus with a T 7.5 and over.
I think it's
over
one-score
39.
Game. I think it's a one-score game, so I feel that. I think it's a really close game.
T-City.
It's one of those deals where look at Penn, Georgia and Notre Dame came down to turnovers, right? Like big plays and turnovers. You had the turnover right before halftime where the Georgia decides to see if they can get something going. The kid Gunner gets sack, fumble. Penn State and Georgia, and then Notre Dame goes right in with Leonard. Then they open up the second half with the kick return. So right off the bat, those two big scores. Georgia's going in early. They fumble. Right, you had to play on the sidelines with the kids. So that's I think the game comes down to that.
That's a backup quarterback though down in Georgia.
Oh, he's good, man.
No.
He broke like Trevor Lawrence's records in high school.
Wow. He's number 2 on the depth chart. He's QB2.
No, he's not. No, well, he's not better. I'm sorry, it's right here. No, trust me. Beck was hurt, but Beck did not have a good year, and the kid actually could throw the ball down the field. He actually played well. I mean, he played okay.
Yeah, he played all right. I saw that. I watched that game.
I mean, he got killed by a couple drops.
Yeah.
There's some big – Georgia dropped 3 big plays.
Notre Dame's offense didn't look great that game. I mean, they had a short field.
Well, Georgia's defense is good.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to come down to Abdul Carter for Penn State because he's going to play, from what I hear. Now, we'll talk to Adam further about this. He's going to play, but what's he got? He's a great player, but what's he got? What's he going to bring tonight? Like, he's a game wrecker. The Notre Dame offensive line has not seen a front like Penn State's. So,
where's that screeching Nittany line at? You're not playing it today, Frazier?
Oh, that's out.
Where's it
that's
at?
out today.
Give me the lion.
I'll give you
some help here.
I'll give you an Irish jig.
I got an Irish guy here, the Irish Italian here. McLoone's coming on. We need some Penn State love in here.
Dude, give me the you got to give me the fighting Irish fight song, dude.
I can pull that up.
Pull that up.
I can pull that up.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. I need some help from the chat with all this Irish love around me.
When Adam's on, I think you got to go Penn State Nittany Lion.
I'll give it to Adam.
Right. Oh, we get 15 minutes of we're in Philadelphia. There's a campus in Delaware County. There's a campus in Bucks County.
Penn State
we got
is
Abington,
like 3
Brandywine.
hours away. Come on, that ain't Philadelphia.
Abington is 40 minutes away. The Abington campus, the Brandywine campus. Come on,
Brandywine.
You guys are nuts.
Brandywine.
You guys are drunk on this Irish stuff.
There's a part of me like. I
don't even think there's an Irish kid on the roster. You guys are crazy. Come on.
There's a part of me that really, I just want to watch the game and without even rooting,
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can appreciate the game. Like, I can actually appreciate this game for what it means. I'm so excited for it. I'm excited for all these Holy Week 8 games.
Let me ask you this. Does it pain you? Because nationally, your boy's been getting a lot of love. Chip.
Yeah.
Does it pain? Like, he's had a good run lately.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I thought he screwed up the Michigan game. He didn't open it up, and he lost that game squarely on his game plan. Now, he rebounds the first 2 games of the playoffs, and the Oregon game was great. But they have the tools. Like, I mean, Jeremiah Smith is ridiculous. He's a receiver. It's ridiculous. Let me see him do it against Texas,
All right.
and then I'll give him props.
All right.
Because I think Texas is going to play them really tough.
Okay.
All right, we got our man Pat McLoone. Speaking of the great Irishman.
More Irish.
All right, Pat's coming up next. So we'll talk to Pat from the editor's desk. I know there'll be a lot of birds talk, the whole thing.
Oh, I got someone who's on my camp. Someone that we all love and adore is in my camp, where this is going to be easy riding for the birds. Someone you respect joins me in my belief.
All right.
Yeah, I got a soundbite coming up.
Oh, good. I love it. Listen, I like them.
I just love them.
I don't like them. I love them. Yeah, you love them by what?
Like 18.
Yeah, 20. Yeah.
Yeah, 18, 20.
All right. Hey, let's talk about some of our friends and partners like Rothman Orthopedics. Joints aching, hands cramping, back out of whack. Rothman's got you. Rothman Orthopedics, practicing specialized care, has been their passion for over 50 years. Their mission, high quality, compassionate, and affordable care rooted in research leading to new treatments and better outcomes. All right. Each Rothman doctor is laser focused on their specialty. Hip, knee, spine, you name it. They have a team for each body part right in your backyard so you can cross over the defense, drain those jumpers, root for our teams like no other fans in the country. They're Rothman Orthopedics, and they specialize in you. All right. Now, for over 50 years, Rothman has been participating in thousands of groundbreaking research and clinical trials with the goal of advancing knowledge, developing treatments, and improving outcomes for the benefit of their patients. Rothman Orthopedics specializes in orthopedics, and you visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today. All right. The Holy Eight is happening. All right. I love that. I love it.
What? The Holy Eat?
Yeah, Holy Eight.
I've never even heard of the Holy Eat.
The Holy Eight.
Yeah.
It's 8 games. The Holy Eight. So to do that, you need the perfect food for tonight and for all weekend long. That's it. Look at that hoagie. Look at that hoagie
now
right on the
love.
screen.
That I can get into.
All right?
Yeah.
Tonight, when you're watching Notre Dame, Penn State, or Sunday when you're watching the Birds, make it primo. All right? There's that commercial where the guy flubs. It's like a DoorDash commercial.
Mm-hmm.
He flubs. All his boys are coming over for the game, and he has bad food.
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Just go to primohoagies.com. Look for the location nearest you, and then go get the hoagie party tray, right? So they got little slivers of all the tasty hoagies, anything you want, right? From the Italian turkey and ham to the chicken cutlet, you name it. The Schwartzy, the veggie, it's all there, all right? Primo, you get the pickies, pepperoni and cheese platters, the desserts, the chips, all your salads.
Love it.
Right?
And like, you don't even have to leave the house.
Right.
I think they deliver through their app where all the food services deliver Primos.
Yeah. It's
It'd be a good one tonight. The Schwartzy corned beef. You know, corned beef with the Irish.
There you go. There you go. All right. You're going to go with the Joe Pa. Joe Pa Italian hoagie. All right. PrimoHoagies.com. You'll say what I've always said for the last 25 years. It's not just a hoagie. It's a Primo. All right. Joining us now from the editor's desk, the great Pat McLoone.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
This just in, ladies and gentlemen, and all the ships at sea. It's time for headlines from the editor's desk with Pat McLoone.
Pat, good morning. We got you on mute. Can you get
How's that now?
There we go. There we go.
Okay.
Give Pat the fight song, dude. You're sleeping on him.
Well, you got bad news here, Anthony.
What?
That's the wrong fight song for me tonight.
Oh, whoa. Give it to us, Pat.
I'm throwing VG a curveball. Now, here's the thing. My two favorite teams, ultimately, the great thing is one of these two teams is going to get a right to play for the national championship. But when it comes right down to it, I've been out to Notre Dame. I've made the pilgrimage in 86. I've been to Beaver Stadium probably 12, 15 times. But when it comes right down to it, Anthony, it comes down to family. And my son Pat and my son Tom went to Penn State, so I'll be pulling for Penn State tonight.
Yeah!
No fight song.
Yeah,
No
Pat.
fight song.
Yeah, Pat.
Kid.
We are.
There you go,
Penn
VG.
State.
That's for you. Sorry, Anthony.
I'm
Look,
shocked.
I'll be rooting heavily for them, and we'll have one of the 5 segments will be about this. But razor sharp call. And you know what? I'm going to be watching the game with my wife's friend Peggy's house. And when I heard that they're playing on Thursday, I'm like, oh my God. But Peggy knows what's going on, and her husband Kevin likes Notre Dame. One of my best friends, Joe Gallagher, I made the pilgrimage to Notre Dame with him. He'll be at the party tonight, but he'll be rooting for Notre Dame, and I'll be rooting for Penn State.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I guess, they got your money, right? Like, Penn State got your money.
Absolutely. They sure did. That's
Pat
right.
Paterno.
Yep.
I love this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, I got skin in the game at Penn State in that way. Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
You got to talk to this very subject about Penn State, Notre Dame, and Philadelphia, because both those schools, like, that was college football for us, was those 2 schools, right? Like,
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And what a nice conversation you and VG and Jamie had with Kevin yesterday. I was listening on the PA Turnpike, the whole thing, and you got him set up. And I almost think Kevin might have been too young, but I'm not too young. You were so on the money with the Joe Paterno story. And then that hour-long Notre Dame thing, Lindsey Nelson, after an exchange of punts, the Irish took over on the 29-yard line.
Yes.
And they would condense it, and then Terry Hanratty would hand off to Bob Gladjo and all that stuff.
I loved it.
And now, meanwhile, my 4 boys went, as did the great Rob Ellis, went to Monsignor Bonner. And Bonner is the home of Penn State's only Heisman Trophy winner, John Cappelletti.
Wow, yeah.
And, my son Brendan idolizes Cappelletti. I've never allowed my kids to get an advantage by any access I could have gained as the editor of the Daily News. But I made one slight exception. My son Brendan said, "Hey, Dad, Cappelletti's on Daily News Live tonight." And I said, "How do you know Cappelletti's on Daily News Live?" Brendan says, I look at his website every day.
Are you serious?
And he looked at it, and I said, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get a Cappelletti photo out of the library. I hope they don't come back the old archives down from
sure. I've dug in those archives before.
Yeah. And I went there, and he was in the green room, and I grabbed his brother Marty or somebody who came with it, and we talked Catholic League. And John Cappelletti gave Brendan about 20 minutes to a half hour. Couldn't have been better. Signed the photo that I gave him. And, I think that's where a lot of the that's where a lot of the Delco Northeast stuff comes. The Delco link has to do with all the guys from Bonner and O'Hara and all that played out there. Springfield, all those guys. Yeah, absolutely. So we could roll right into that, or I could give you the 5 segments.
I love it. Pat, it's to me, this is Holy Week for me. This is the Holy 8. I mean, we got playoffs that matter, 2 great college games, 6 NFL games. This is I can't wait to just enjoy the next, 6 days.
I just love the positioning of this college football playoff, that it has allowed this to happen. It's been great.
Yeah, it really has. All right, without further ado,
I'll let you roll through here's the roster. Always double Eagles. Might be getting into quadruple or quintuple Eagles if we get some success here. I have Eagles, Packers, Eagles past playoffs, around the NFL, more on the college football playoff, and sports lexicon.
All right, let's go sports lexicons to start.
Okay. I've often thought that you would be a fine czar as far as making rulings over sports matters.
Thank you.
And I couldn't think of a better right-hand man, actually your left-hand man, I think, as we're looking there, a VG because he's a knowledgeable guy. He's loyal, but he's not a yes man. So he's not going to rubber stamp anything you say.
Yeah.
So this is something that just grabbed me as it relates to stuff. And the headline for this, Anthony, is favored nation status. And that's where I'd like you to get roll in there. All four of these teams have stuff: Ohio State Nation, Penn State Nation, Texas Nation, Notre Dame Nation. I think, Anthony, not everybody can be a nation. And I hate to do this. It kills me. But my example is education of mine for 8 years that I wouldn't trade for anything. I love everything about LaSalle. But LaSalle had a big game, and one of their players, and I hate to single a kid, but he's a nice player and a good man, but it was just something he put on social media. Jaleel White couldn't play in a game, and he wanted to tell the fans that he'd be back for the next game, and he invoked Explorer Nation.
Oh.
And I'm here to tell you, Anthony, I love LaSalle. There's no Explorer Nation. There's no Explorer Nation. There's no Tulsa Nation. There's no Sam Houston State Nation. So I think when these places want to be nations, they need to run it by you, whether they get nation status.
I love it. I love this, actually, because I think it's overused. I agree with you.
Absolutely.
Listen, we have many nations in the world, but let's face it, there's only a few that really matter, right? That they deserve the nation status. Notre Dame deserves nation status.
Notre Dame Nation?
Yes.
And here's the other thing on those lines. Listen, PG, you're playing your role perfectly. You're playing the devil's advocate, but let's make no mistake. Anthony calls the nations around here, okay?
It's almost not a voluntary nation, though. It's a nation because they're just forced down your throat. They're on TV all the time.
And here's another thing with
do they have fans around the country?
Yes. Fugazi
No
fans?
doubt about it.
Whatever you want to call it. They have fans around the country, thus, hence, a nation.
I don't like it.
I mean, I think that's got to be the ruling.
I'm with you.
Nation.
Raider Nation's the
is
OG
real.
nation. That's the
Raider
Hey,
OG.
the
Nation
czar
is real.
listen, the czar has spoken here. And the other thing along this is, how about a little creativity, all these nations? I'll tell you what I like. I like Bill's Mafia.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, there you go.
Yes.
Show a little creativity. I
Yes.
asked some friends around the country about this. Good friend Michael Peters, and I said, is Tulsa? No, they never call it Tulsa Nation. So he called it. No Tulsa Nation. I asked my friend Shamar out at Arizona State. Now, Shamar, I wish, was the sports editor at the Inquirer and would be a good friend of yours by now. But that didn't work out. But Shamar says, no Arizona State Nation. However, he said at Arizona State, it's Forks Up.
Yes. Forks
I like it.
up.
That's pretty
That I
easy,
like.
though.
I love Forks Up.
It's horns up, dude.
No, I love
It's
Forks
horns
Up.
up.
No.
That Forks Up.
This is
That's a
the
rip-off
guy,
of
the
Horns
Sun
Up.
Devil. He's got his trident.
Yeah, I love
That's
Forks
the
Up.
fork.
Yo, shit.
Scataboo, Forks Up.
Shouldn't it be, Pat? You're a good Catholic guy. Shouldn't it be the Notre Dame congregation?
Well,
Part of the
there could be-
congregation.
Listen, I always thought the Eagles.
If you want to be creative, I mean, we're talking to the Czar. Also, just dubbed this week the Holy Eight. I like that too.
I love. Listen, I love the Eagles as the flock.
The flock?
I like
You
the
like
flock.
that better than Bird Gang?
I like the flock better than I've heard Eagle Nation. We're not Eagle Nation.
We're not Eagle.
No.
We're
No.
a flock.
Right, and you're right again, Anthony. I liked it in
Thank you.
Philadelphia. It's not Phillies Nation, Eagles Nation, Sixers Nation, or Flyers Nation. Now, there are some good websites. The Phillies Nation, those guys out there do a great job. Bleeding Green Nation does a good job. I don't want to disparage that. But as a fan base, I'm proud that in Philadelphia, we do not have a Phillies Nation, Eagles Nation, Sixers Nation, or Flyers Nation.
Yes.
It's not the right thing.
No. And that's played. You know, you got to be massive right? To have a nation.
Yes.
And it's got to be grandfathered in.
Yeah, someone in the Red Sox have a nation.
Yes. That was an original.
Yeah.
The Red Sox were an original. The Raiders were an original. You know, cowboy country, they say. Right? Like that's, Pat, cowboy country, as much as we hate them, and we don't want to visit that country, but that makes sense.
Yeah, and they have a national grasp of goofy people hanging on to something they have no business to hang on. Yet there is critical mass.
I'm looking up what you call a group of eagles. These aren't great. A soar of eagles, or a convocation of eagles.
No, that's too much. You can't do that. Some of our Eagle fans can't spell convocation.
No.
Can't spell flock.
Fuck you.
Ray from Philly's like, what the flock?
I love this conversation, Pat. It's brilliant. It really is.
Try to throw in, it's a great time of the year with great stuff. Just try to kick one off with something a little different.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Fantastic.
Now, what do you want? Eagles now, Eagles Packers, Eagles past, around the NFL, or the college football
Let's go
playoff?
around the NFL.
Certainly. And for around the NFL, our headline is, does any of this make sense?
Oh, this is good.
What a crazy Black Monday that was. I mean, could anybody, what in God's name happened with the Giants? Way to go, Andrew. We got both of these guys. How did John Mara hold on to these guys? You might make an argument for Daboll, but this Joe Shane, they should have fired him in the middle of the season. And I love it as an Eagles fan. This just assures more mediocrity. Or, listen, the Giants have a long way to go to reach mediocrity at this point. But that made no sense to me. The Bears toying with McCarthy made no sense to me.
Where did that come from?
What?
Is that insane? Where did that come from?
I feel bad for the Bears fans that these guys, and they brought in a big hitter to run the Bears. They brought in Kevin Warren, who ran the Big Ten, was Fran McCaffrey's teammate at Penn. He's got to get his arms around this. I don't know what's going on out there, and it just makes you feel really good about the stability and what the Eagles do. And one of the things I love about the Eagles and Howie is they're always taking their shot. What is this John Mara? I don't get it. In a lot of ways, Joe Shane humiliated him nationally.
They
with
were
that
Hard
show.
Knocks. You're exactly right. Hard Knocks. He's an embarrassment. As Mara's saying, anybody but the Eagles. And he goes to the Eagles and has a historic season. If anybody should be fired in the history of the world, it should be Joe Shane.
Right. And he also lets go of Xavier McKinney, who could be a problem for the Eagles on Sunday.
Yes.
All-pro safety. Jeez. He also the Daniel Jones he signed. He has to make a decision. He's got A, B, or C. He goes C. Let's give this guy $40 million. Then he cuts him, and he's back for more. It's great. That and the existence, let's all hope Jerry Jones lives a nice, healthy life to 110.
Yes.
And that the Giants keep being the Giants.
Yes.
We're gonna have we'll worry about how good Jaden Daniels is for 10 years.
Yeah.
And we'll get four wins with the way these guys are operating.
I'm with you, brother. I'm so with you. It really was a crazy, crazy time. That Black Monday was bizarre. And even now, you look around at some of the openings, and I don't know that Ben Johnson is actually going to leave. There's a lot of talk.
Right, and I think he did that last year. I think he's looking for the right spot. And I don't know. I don't love a lot of those spots. I'll tell you that.
Where would Pat McLoone go? Jacksonville, the Jets, the Bears, the Raiders? Where would you go?
I think I'd go to the Bears. and I would restore the good name of a great franchise in a great city.
Yeah.
And go on from there. And, you have the quarterback. You have to be an evaluator who really, really believes in the quarterback. But I'm willing to think that in the right situation, he could be a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that, like the young Stroud thing, I think that Daniels would have been a better choice looking back. But, you have that built in. In some of these other places with the, Raiders, you got to start from scratch, and maybe they will be, but one or the other, Shedeur Sanders or Ward, I see them as middle of the pack starters at best.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see a franchise guy there.
No, I don't see a quarterback out there. By the way, if I were one of these teams, you're going to laugh at me, but in lieu of that, I'd call the Eagles about Tanner McKee.
Boy, I was trying to figure out a way to get this comment in edgewise, but now you gave me the opening. Let me say this about Tanner McKee. He throws a beautiful ball.
He does.
When they showed that ball going out, that was the tightest spiral I've seen in a long time.
He spins it, man.
Yeah, and I like Pickett on the short things or whatever, but when he got the ball to Devontae, and that was on Devontae, not Pickett. Pickett put it right there. But even that, it's got a little wobble to it. I love a ball like McKee throws that's an absolutely tight spiral like that.
Pat, it's my favorite thing in the world. I love quarterbacks. I love that throw. And I love that. I'll be honest with you. I like the kid, man. He's big. He can, that arm is, he can make every throw. Look at how it works with play action. If I'm the team that needs a quarterback, I'm calling the Eagles. I'm going to trade for McKee. I mean, I don't know about Cam Ward. I don't know about Sanders. I don't know. There's a lot of teams. If not that the Eagles would trade McKee to the Giants, but anybody, I would look around. There's a lot of teams with bad quarterbacks. I'd take a look at McKee.
Would you trade McKee?
If I'm the Eagles, no, I wouldn't. Yeah. But, make me an offer that I can't refuse.
That's what I was going to say, VG. I'd feel pretty good with Hurts and McKee for the next 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. I don't know if McKee will want to stick around.
And what you do is, if you go that way with Hurts and McKee, then you go draft the next McKee.
Yeah.
You try to get it.
Pat's
a real
saying the QB
nice
factory is open and running.
Yeah. Yeah. It's churning. QB factory is churning.
Lights are on.
Listen, Andy
I did not expect that out of him those 2 games, but he played well. He really did.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not a Pickett fan. I'm not a Pickett fan at all. So
he doesn't like his size.
I don't like him.
Right.
Stop laughing, Frazier. Pat, you got to talk to
Hey,
Frazier.
I love Andrew, but
he's
a guy that didn't know who Root Rockney was. I'm not sure he earned that.
He's wearing the hat. And by the way, put yourself up.
Yeah,
show Pat. He's got the gold chain.
I saw him.
What do you think about this gold chain look, Pat?
Show yourself, Andrew.
Boy, when we quizzed him around Thanksgiving, I don't think he knew what color the helmets were.
Nah, he doesn't know. He didn't know flight song and nothing.
Come on, get yourself up there. You're
Come
always
on,
quick
man.
with that.
It kills me to take a shot at Andrew Frazier, but we gave him the test and he didn't do great.
There it is.
But
Right
I don't
there.
know.
What do you
Notre
think of
Dame,
He's going for the ride, so enjoy it. Yes.
What do you think of the gold chain outside the sweatshirt?
How many times do you think I'm the last person to be somebody for a fashion commentary, but I think you know the answer to how many times I've worn a gold chain outside of whatever.
Yeah, you're a fashionable guy. You know what's up.
That's right. Plus, with the size of my neck right now, that's a lot of gold.
A joker.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Get pricey.
All right, let's go. Let's save the birds. Let's go college football.
Okay. And, on this one, it's a clash of local favorites / villains because as much as people like Penn State and like Notre Dame, you also have people that can't stand either one.
Hello.
And it's cool that we're going to have the first black coach in the championship game. Kind of surprised by that, to tell you the truth. But Franklin's done wonders for that program, but he's a scary guy on game day. And I think a lot of Marcus Freeman. I was glad to hear Kevin Nagandi, A, admit that he hated Notre Dame when he was a kid, and B, that he's a fan of Freeman. So that was cool. But Anthony, I think you were right on the money. You know, you don't want to be a guy that sits on the fence when you're breaking down a game, but these guys are so even. So even, in fact. Notre Dame has played Penn State 19 times. And the all-time record for Penn State is 9 wins, 9 losses, and 1 tie.
Wow, that's amazing, man. That's incredible.
It's even Steven.
That's wild.
Even Steven, they haven't played since 2007. My first trip to Beaver Stadium was in 1983, freezing cold. One of our friends, Walt Detrue's dad, said he wanted to go with us into Winnebago. And, you know, we were of the age we didn't want anybody's dad going. But he was a teamster and and he said, I'll drive the Winnebago. We said, you're in.
Yeah.
And there was only one spot left. They have a Winnebago lot at Beaver Stadium. There was one spot left on a Friday night, and he backed that thing in one shot with 3 inches on either side. He was a great man, Mr. Detroit. But anyway, the game we went to, Anthony, was a fabulous game. 34-30, Penn State. It was so long ago. Notre Dame's quarterback slinging it that day was that Steve Berline.
Wow. Steve Berline. That's wild.
Steve Berline slinging it in his first season as coach, Lou Holtz. So it was Joe Pa against Lou Holtz up there. And, you know, anybody pro or con Penn State won't deny that that's one thing on your sports bucket list. You have to see a game at Beaver Stadium. There's nothing. It's
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. You get a whiteout against Ohio State. And, oh, my God, you're jumping even if you don't want to jump because the stadium pops you up in the air. It gets crazy.
Yeah, it's the environment. My to this day, I think my favorite job was when I was at the Post, and I would do a big college game every week and a big NFL game every week. And I you know, the Post had that travel budget. I used to just go and Notre Dame. You know, it was amazing stuff, man.
In the next few years, one of mine is that I'm not even particular about what game it is, but I want to go to a great weekend SEC game.
Yeah.
Down south.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah, Bama.
But these are, you know, do you guys, I'm not sure Ohio State can be stopped. That's going to be another thing.
I like Texas.
And that's one team I want out.
I like Texas.
But, Texas, you made some good points about that Texas with your conversation with Kevin yesterday about you really like the Texas secondary.
I do. A couple things. One, let's start with Texas's O-line. They're massive. They have great tackles. I don't think Ohio State to get pressure on Ewers is going to have to blitz. They didn't have to blitz to get pressure on Gabriel, right? So that's a big deal. Then I think Texas can make plays against Ohio State in their secondary because I think two things. One, they'll have more success running the ball, and two, now I'm not the biggest Ewers guy. I wish
nor am I.
But I think you can make plays. And then Texas secondary is really good. All right. Jeremiah Smith is ridiculous, but between Texas's front, Howard hasn't seen that. And listen, Oregon's defense is not good. Penn State riddled that defense. Remember in the Big Ten championship game? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Texas is a different story. It's a different beast. Ohio State will not have the success they had against Oregon, against Ohio State.
Well, at that point, I'll have one of my teams through, hopefully Penn State, but I'll be very happy with Notre Dame. And it's just like with the Eagles, I love it when the Eagles win, and now what you're doing is scouting the next opponent. So whoever wins tonight, I want to see win the whole thing. And another thing that was crazy about the college playoff was, and they're going to make some adjustments, but 8 beat 1, 7 beat 2, 6 beat 3, and 5 beat 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
This is also wild. I'm looking. Do you know when that Penn State Notre Dame tie was?
The tie? No, probably 1921.
1925. The score.
Ooh, I was close.
The score 0-0.
Oh my
Neither
God.
team scored.
I think
November
wow.
7th, 1925.
Yeah, how about you almost got it?
Yeah,
Pat goes
1921.
1921. That's outrageous. All
Yeah.
right. Let's go, Birds. Double.
Okay, we want to go Birds past, or you want to save the Eagles Packers for last, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Little Eagles past, and our headline there is Never Before 4. And I just wanted to talk about some Eagles' first games. And
Wow.
here we are, the first game when the Eagles got to the Super Bowl. Sometimes people don't remember that was a very shaky first game, Anthony. Eagles 15, Falcons 10. Foles establishing himself as the starter under Wentz. And then the game really came down to about 50 seconds left. Well, the Falcons had a 4th down play, and Julio Jones had the ball in his hands. It could have knocked out the Eagles' only Super Bowl thing.
The Green Goblin?
Yeah.
Jalen
Look at
Mills?
that,
And here it is.
man. Look.
Ryan rolling to the right. Ryan in trouble. Ryan flips one into the end zone with a prayer, incomplete.
58 seconds left, guys.
Covering.
Unbelievable. Biggest play
He
of the
catches
game.
that.
Julio
Look out.
Jones falls down. Jalen Mills, who has come so far here in his second year, he falls down. Now watch Julio going to get it up. Ryan still wants it, and they can't quite get the completion.
Oh, thank God.
Now, you tell me that if that play happened the way how bad officiating is in the NFL, that's an instant flag. Instant flag.
Instant.
Even though Julio Jones fell down, they're throwing a flag, and the Eagles are screwed over that one thing.
Totally right. It's funny. I'm watching the play again. I'm going, man, he was pretty handsy. And
Yes.
they would, like today, forget about it. It's not even close. Flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
road?
yeah.
They don't give a little home field?
Nah.
Yeah, it's a shame we got the washed Julio Jones last year with the Eagles, and he still could have pulled that. That would have been, something pulling it out of there. But just looking at some of the other along the trail.
Hey, real quick. If that happens, there's 58 seconds left, right?
Right.
And I think that Super Bowl was meant to be. I think Foles was meant to be. I think Foles would have brought it back down.
Probably would have. And, it gets to one of my points I was going to save for the other one, but it's a perfect thing now. Jake Elliott in the playoffs. 16 for 16.
Wow.
He's never missed.
Wow.
Oh, man.
He's
Hope that's not
never
a
missed.
broadcaster jinx.
I know. I worry, I try to bring
Knock
you the
on wood,
tidbits
Pat.
I can, and I worry about these things when I do, but 16 for 16.
Wow.
Only one 50-yarder plus. In that Falcons game, I think it was, he
Right before halftime?
kicked one. Yeah, the 53-yarder. But everything else, and he made a gigantic one to give them in the Super Bowl. He had a gigantic one to make the spread go where the Patriots were going to need a touchdown rather than a field goal. But I think we're going to be doing this thing on February 20th or whatever, and we're going to be talking about Jake Elliott being 22 for 22.
Wow, that would be the best. That would be the best, man.
Another prediction.
Here it is.
They just keep rolling in.
I trust the Pat. I trust the Pat.
But hey, the other thing here too is the headline was never before 4. You know, every time the Eagles got to the Super Bowl, they only had to win 3. They only had to win 2 games to get there. They've never had a 4-game trail. So that's, you know, we're blazing, and I think that they could do it too, but we're blazing new trails here, boys. You're going to have to win 4, and there will not be a laugher along the way.
We got a laugher
the
this
one
weekend.
year in
he thinks it's a laugher
this weekend.
Sunday. I don't.
I saw that, and listen. The last time we threw Eagles predictions was I said I felt good about the Redskins. VG said I don't know, so I'm hoping VG's right this week. He's going 2 touchdowns plus.
Yep, easy peasy this weekend.
All right. No,
I got backup. You'll be seeing later on. I got someone we all respect in my camp.
All right. Without further ado, the number 1 Eagles-Packers headline.
Number 1, here's our headline. And the headline is Packers Smackers.
Love it.
We're going to need the fellas to be Packers Smackers this week. And how do you guys, and I'm sure you've been asked about it, where do you guys weigh in on the concernometer for Hurts and mild rust?
I'm not too bad with that. I think Kellen's going to call a good play and work them in and work the rust off. We're going to run the ball. No one can stop Saquon. We've had the Ravens with the best rush defense, couldn't stop them. The Pittsburgh's got a good rush defense, couldn't stop them. I think it's going to be fine. The first quarter might be a little here and there, but I think they're good. I think he's going to be fine.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I think they're going to win. I think the Eagles match up really well against Green Bay, right? So my faith is in the Eagles defense, and I do think Saquon will have at some point break him because that's what he does. But I could see Jalen being rusty. I could certainly see that. When you don't throw a ball in 3 games, you know, 12. You got 12 passes in 3 games. I don't know how you don't have rust.
Right. Well, yeah, I know. And I mean, you know, when you didn't play and I'm all for not playing them in the preseason, but, you know, the price you pay is that when you come out that first week,
you're
rusty. And, the whole team was really.
Yeah. No, but I don't think I don't think it can kill him, right? And I think at some point he'll get into a flow. But I think the Eagles defense matches up because with no Watson, they can't get hurt down the field. And, they have – I think their receivers are decent, right? Reed and Wicks and Dobbs, right? And you got a couple good tight ends, Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. But the Eagles come at you with that secondary. Like, if you go nickel with Cooper, right, Slay, Quinion, or dime with Rodgers, I mean, I'll take them all every day of the week.
Yeah. And to that end, I think a big key, it's always a key. It's all about, it's the other end too. It's, I understand the idea that you got to pass and all to win, but fundamentally football, it's about you have to be able to run the ball and you have to be able to stop the run. So Jordan Davis is going to have to earn his money and they're going to have to, make sure that Jacobs doesn't give the Love many 3rd and 2s. And I think that, and who's it going to be? Nolan Smith, going to be Nakobe Dean on the blitz, Carter getting through, but they got to let Jordan Love know that they're around that pass rush.
I'm with you. I'm completely with you. My brother, you're the greatest. We love you. I'm sure I'll be texting you during the game.
Absolutely. It's going to be great.
Enjoy the night.
Holy 8.
Holy 8.
Okay.
Pat gets it. The Holy 8. Coming up in just a moment, this could be a big college football hour. The great Booger McFarland joins us. I love Booger.
I love Booger. Booger and Kevin are great together.
They are. They're fantastic. Mm-hmm. So we're going to dive deeper into the Notre Dame Penn State. We'll ask Bug, too, about the Eagles. And we got our man Adam Taliferro.
Love Adam.
All right.
Yeah,
So-
finally some. Well, I was surprised, McLoone. We got a bunch of PSU energy going now.
Yeah. Zach also will join us in the middle, the guys with an Eagles update. So we got you covered every which way. This portion of the show brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Go to TrueMark.com/PHLY for the credit union difference. Let's talk about, yes, Parks Casino and the great sportsbook, the Bet Parks Sportsbook and online casino app. Oh, you can't beat it. That's right. I tell you about it all the time, all right? All the time. And with the Holy Eight going on, now's the time to hang with the Bet Parks Sportsbook online casino app. Here you go. Tonight, Irish, 1.5-point favorite. I told you, I do like the over. It sounds weird, but I do like the over. Birds 4.5. I think I'm with you. You have an alternate line. Like, or the Bet Parks app, you could lay. Would you say they're going to win by 20? 18? 18. So you could theoretically lay 17 and get a huge payout. Like you could toggle the spread.
Of course. Yeah, let me see.
So you could do that. The total's 45.5. I like the under. So how you could do it in Eagles 28-6 win. And then
Eagles minus 13.5 is plus 260. I thought it'd be more than that. See, Vegas knows something's happening here.
Yeah.
Minus 16.5, plus 370.
But it's the Holy Eight, right? You got all the great games. So you got to check out our Cousins Corner that we did last night with Brad, where all the plays and props and you name it are right there. So check out the Bet Parks Sportsbook online casino app. And there's always more ways to win. You have all the casino games, right? All the hot online slots like Peaky Blinders, the live dealer blackjack, roulette. So you can always have some fun. VG does the Baccarat. So check out betparks.com for all the details. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio, Michigan. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yo, and that Rocky slot, Paulie gets a lot of good love. If you hit Paulie's, he pays out pretty well.
Paulie's the best.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Ace Hardware Home Services. They are here to help you with all your home repairs because they are stressful. And you never know who to call. People say they got guys, they show up, they don't show up, they start the job, they don't finish the job. Not the Ace Hardware Home Services, folks. And I've been seeing these trucks in my neighborhood a lot, so everyone's been using them. So you got a leaky pipe? Well, Ace Hardware Home Services, they got someone to fix it. Got an air conditioning or heating issue? They got a person for that. Got a faucet you said you'd fix last fall. They got a person for that too, because now they're not just bringing the helpful hardware folks. They're bringing the helpful hardware folks and service to your home. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they got trusted pros to keep your home running all year long and taking the stress away from you. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing the helpful home, the helpful you love from their stores, now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project and to take a little bit of that stress off you.
Ace.
It's the place.
Right. And the helpful place at home.
At home, man.
Which is
So
fantastic. All right. Joining us. I love him, man. He is fantastic. You want to talk about the preeminent college football analyst for ABC, ESPN, of course, a partner with our dear friend, Kevin Negandhi.
Yeah.
He is the great Booger McFarland.
Yeah.
Boog, what do you say, buddy?
How we doing, guys? What's going on?
First of all, you and my boy, man, you guys kill it. Absolutely kill it.
We try to have some fun, man. You know, it's very difficult dealing with Kev. He's a little bit of a prima donna. He wears more makeup and more hair product than my wife, so I'm always on him about that.
Wait till I talk to Kev next week. That's getting said. That's for sure. Hey, Boog, this game is huge, particularly for us. You know how Notre Dame has that, national kind of fan base. Philadelphia, 3.5 hours from Penn State, from State College. And, a lot of people are Notre Dame fans. So this is like a big deal for us. It feels like it's such an even mirror-to-mirror game. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think whichever team can kind of inflict their style of play on the other is going to win and who can do it the longest. I think, you talk about each team having two really good running backs, Allen and Singleton for Penn State, Love and Price for Notre Dame. I think the Notre Dame offensive line is just a little bit better. They were young at the beginning of the season, but I think now that they've been toughened, they've been seasoned, they've been hardened. And I just like the way that they play. I know the offensive coordinator a little bit, Mike Denbrock. He was the OC at LSU, so I'm very familiar with him. He understands how to utilize his talent. I love Notre Dame's defense. I think Penn State's defense may be a little hampered, depending on whether or not Abdul Carter is going to play or be at full strength. And so I think if this game is a slugfest, meaning if you tell me neither quarterback is going to throw for 250 yards, it's going to be primarily about the guys up front on offense and defense in the running game, I'm going to favor Notre Dame because I think they do that at a higher level. If you tell me that this game is going to kind of be in the high 20s, low 30s, and there are going to be some explosive plays in the pass game, I probably favor Drew Allar with that. He's the better passer. I think Riley Leonard is the better runner. Tyler Warren is probably the most explosive skill player on either side. And so if you're Notre Dame, you got to take that away. And I think my biggest question is this. Outside of Tyler Warren for Penn State, who's going to get some explosive plays? And for Notre Dame, can Riley Leonard complete 3 or 4 of those chunk pass plays down the field, those 20-plus yard plays down the field? I think that's kind of how I see this game going.
Man, I'm spot on. I'm so with you. Let me ask you a question about Leonard, because when he was at Duke, he threw the football. I'm curious, how come he just wants to tuck it all the time?
Well, I'm not saying that he can't throw it. I think what you got to do, I think what
I'm just talking about from last year. How come?
Right.
How come he's not? How come he doesn't throw? Like, he threw the ball last year, and it feels like he doesn't move to throw. He moves to just run.
Well, I think part of that is understanding what kind of offense you have and how do you want to move the football. I think Mike Denbrock does a really good job of utilizing the weapons that he has.
Yeah.
And so if you're Riley Leonard, I think he's probably been coached to, hey, 2nd and 5 is better than 2nd and 10. So if you got a chance to get 5 yards, I'll take the bird in the hand over 2 in the bush. And I think Notre Dame is very comfortable playing this game in 2nd and 5 and 3rd and 2 or 3. So they'll take their shots down the field. If you go back to the Indiana game, when they threw the ball up and down the field for some big plays, I think that you see they can be explosive in the pass game if they need to.
Yeah.
But I think if you ask them how they'd rather win the game, it would be with the big guys up front, running the football, being physical. They'd rather rush for 250 and throw for 250.
Yeah. No, listen, you're right. And you bring up a great point about Indiana where, Indiana stacked the box and said, you're going to have to beat us in the air. And they did. They made a couple plays. And then conversely, there were a couple plays to be had against the Notre Dame secondary, and Georgia, which was played by drops all year long, just couldn't convert those. Allar's got the arm to do it.
Yeah, he does have the arm to do it. Some people, I know he's already said he's coming back to school next year. Some people think that if he came out, he might be the first quarterback taken based on the ceiling that he has and the amount of talent in that big 6'4", 6'5" frame. I think for Drew Allar, he is limited a little bit with the weapons on the outside. At Penn State, they got a great tight end in Warren. They got 2 great backs. The offensive line is really solid. But I think an area where you would have to say they're a little less talented is at the wide receiver position. And I think, Drew Allar understands that. And so, therefore, when in doubt, he's throwing the 44. He's throwing the football to the tight end and maybe not to some of the wideouts.
Yeah. I feel you on that. It's going to be so interesting, man. I'm curious to see when you have both teams that want to run it and play defense, and sometimes there's explosive plays that happen when you get these kinds of. It's kind of it's a fascinating game. And then I love what Freeman's done. I just think he's such a good coach. And on the other side, Franklin, who wins a lot of games, the story. It's all about winning the big game. This is a huge one for him.
Yeah, well, no doubt. And let's face it. And when you look at Notre Dame and you look at this as being a big game, I think you look at what Marcus Freeman did against Georgia. He kind of got that monkey off his back a little bit, beating an SEC team, winning a big game. But on the other side, James Franklin is always going to be linked to that because of his performance against Ohio State and Michigan. And I think, beating SMU, beating winning the next round of the playoff really hasn't done that for him. This is going to be kind of the first game that I would put in that Ohio State Michigan category for him as being a quote unquote big game. Not that the other playoff games weren't important, but I think you guys get what I mean. And so this is another opportunity for James Franklin to be on this stage. And I think, a larger point, guys, is this will be the first time, regardless of who wins this game out of Notre Dame and Penn State, you're going to have an African-American coach coaching for a national championship in a couple of weeks. Now, I think that's something that needs to be said.
Yeah. No, it's huge. It's funny. We were just talking about that. For some reason, I'm shocked that it hasn't happened.
Yeah, it's taking this long.
I love Freeman, man. I just think he's terrific. He's just such a great coach. Let me ask you about the other game. I'm curious because you're going to laugh at me. I like Texas. I think Texas matches up with Ohio State.
Me and you are probably sharing a brain. And I'm going to tell you the reason I say that is for a couple of reasons. I don't think Ohio State can do what they've done the last two games, a third game in a row. Like, I've watched this team all year. They've been up and down, and all of a sudden now, just because they put two really good performances, I'm supposed to forget the last 3 months. I haven't quite done that. That's number one. And number two, when you talk about the most talented teams in the country, I think Texas is right there with Ohio State and then Oregon and some of these other teams. So talent for talent, I do think that Texas can match up with them. The key is going to be, can Texas run the football?
Yeah.
If you look at the games that Texas has won, they've rushed the football very well. If you look at the two games they lost, both of them to Georgia, they averaged 30 yards rushing a game. So it's really simple for me. If Texas can run the ball, I think everything after that opens up. If they can't, then the pressure mounts on Quinn Ewers. And as talented as he is, he's shown the propensity to make a couple of mistakes under pressure.
Yep. Yeah, I'm totally with you. And here's the thing. Ohio State got pressure against Gabriel without blitzing. They ain't doing that against that Texas O-line and those tackles. Like, you're gonna have to blitz to get any kind of pressure against him because Texas O-line is legit and the Texas front is legit. That's a different beast. We saw Penn State go up and down the field against Oregon. You ain't doing that against that Texas defense.
Yeah, you wouldn't think. I mean, Texas has got some dudes. Texas has got this freshman named Colin Simmons. I think he's a future top 5 pick, and he's only a freshman. Anthony Hill Jr., an outstanding linebacker. Jade Barron, who won the Thorpe Award. So they got playmakers everywhere. Can they get their best players to play at a high level in this game? I think will be the key.
Yeah. No, I'm with it. That Jeremiah Smith, though, man, wow. That kid's amazing. My God. Him and Ryan Williams, Bug. My God, those two kids are electric, and they're just babies.
Yeah, young kids, man. It just goes to show you, and I can tell you about Jeremiah Smith, guys. I saw this kid in high school. He was in high school a year ago, and his high school played my daughter's high school. So I'm sitting there looking at this kid, and he's every bit of 6'3" and 215, 220 in high school. Like, if you told me right now he was a starting receiver for the Baltimore Ravens or the Kansas City Chiefs, like, he could walk out there right now and play. And I think that there have been very few players that have been in this position that the moment they left high school could have played in the National Football League. I think of Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
I think of Micah Parsons. I think of Jeremiah Smith. And these kids basically have to wait and dodge landmines of getting hurt for 3 years before they can go to the league. But make no doubt about it, he's a pro already. It's just a matter of time until he gets there.
Hey, Booger, can I ask you on the Texas-Ohio State, as far as the coaches matchup goes, do you see those guys as even, or do you have a lean on one side or the other?
Well, I think they both have their flaws. I think if you look at Ryan Day, his ability to get his team to play in a big game has kind of been lacking. I think it took a while for he and Chip Kelly to finally figure out, hey, our best part of our offense is our wide receivers. Like, why did that take so long? His ability to get past the mental block of Michigan, I think is something that he's going to have to deal with next year. And as far as Steve Sarkisian, like they get off to these fast starts and it's 10-0, it's 14-0, it's 17-3, and then they kind of hit lulls. You have to ask yourself a really hard question, Sark, why is that? Why can I get my team ready to play and we start fast, but we can't play consistently? So I think both teams have coaches that have to have questions to answer. But from a talent standpoint, I think this is all you want, and why this game is the game that's going to be on Friday night. And I think a lot of people are going to tune in across the country.
Would you deploy Arch a little more?
Well, here's the thing about it. Like, I think Arch is way more talented than Quinn Ewers, but I also think Quinn Ewers is way more experienced. And so it just depends on what you value the most. And Sark is a completely very, very, very adept offensive, astute offensive coach, quarterback, whisperer, however you want to phrase it. And so he sees Quinn as his best option right now. I have no doubt, though, based on how we've seen them disperse throughout the season, that if he thought Arch gave him a better chance of winning, that he would pull Quinn and put Arch in, as he's done throughout the season. So right now, I do think, and I'm going to trust Sark, that Quinn gives him the best chance to win.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Hey, guy, I got to ask you, because about the NFL playoffs, where do you think the Eagles are right now positioned?
Well, we have to first establish and talk about the health of Jalen Hurts and how the Eagles want to play. The Eagles have the best offensive line in football. They got the best running back in football. They got the best running quarterback outside of Lamar Jackson in football. If the Eagles are going to play the game that way and then take some shots to Smith and Brown, I think the Eagles are going to be unstoppable. I think they're the best team in football. But if you tell me that the Eagles aren't going to play that way, if Hurts is kind of going to be gimpy, he's not going to run for fear of concussion. If you tell me that that the wide receivers are going to want to be fed the football, if you tell me that the defense is going to revert back to last year, not this year, then it's going to be iffy. Like, playoff football is all about the performance on that day, guys. Yeah. But if the Eagles play at their best and they play at their ceiling, the way their defense has been played, they can win the Super Bowl. And that's against any team in the NFC or the AFC. They just got to go out and get it done.
Yeah, that defense. See, the thing that I really like about them is their defense. Quinyon Mitchell has really solidified him and Cooper DeJean in that secondary. And Jalen Carter's I know you love him, Bug. You got to love Jalen Carter. He's just a game wrecker. Like, he's dominated that front. They don't have great ends, and he has been a one-man wrecking crew in the middle of that front. And then you got that secondary, and then Zach Bond at linebacker. That defense is legit.
Yeah, the defense is legit. The defense is playing well. Jalen Carter has been outstanding. Jordan Davis has been really good in spots. Nolan Smith has come on. Zach Bond has been a godsend, because God knows how he's never going to draft a linebacker in the first round. The secondary, Quinyon Mitchell, has been everything that they asked for. Like the Eagles have been exactly what they thought they could be defensively. The key will be for them, can they put it together and win 4 games? Can a ball that's made of leather and oblong that bounces funny bounce in their favor? Because they're going to need a bouncer too. Yeah, it's like every team is. And so I think at the end of the day, man, as long as Hurts is healthy and they play the game the right way, I think the Eagles have as good a chance as anybody of winning the Super Bowl.
Bug, thanks, brother. We know you got to split, man. We appreciate your time, and you're a blast. We gotta make sure we get Kevin some new product.
Well, listen. He's got enough product to last from now until probably 2026. But if you ever want to get him something, he does 2 things that you guys can kind of get him on. He wears this bronzer to make himself look more tan, and then he always dyes his hair. You can always tell when the game or the event is big because he dyes his hair the blackest I've ever seen it. So those are 2 things you can bring up with him.
I love it, brother. Thanks, man. We love you, man. You're the best, buddy. Thank you.
Later, bud.
There he is, Booger McFarland. That's priceless. That's great.
Kevin does look $1 million on those broadcasts.
He does. And he's got the glow. He's got the glow. I should use the bronzer.
Yeah. And more Eagles love. I love it.
Dude, clip that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what the clip, man. The bug.
They just keep rolling it.
They can win the Super Bowl. All right. We have Zachariah.
Not yet.
All right.
5 minutes.
I got a listen.
Well, I want to, well, do your thing.
Yeah.
We'll take care of some business. Like, we got to take care of a couple things.
All right.
And then let's do that first. Then I want to hear from you, and then we'll hear from Zach.
All right.
And then we got Adam. All right. So we got a whole full thing ahead. My buddy Vinny says, it's too cold to have allergies. You have to get out of that mold-infested building. Dude, I walk into the studio, my flare up, I can't breathe, and my eyes, I want to scratch them with a fork. I all of a sudden start to get puffy and everything. The mold in this room, it's got to be like...
It's in the rugs. It's in the curtains.
Well, one day it was raining and the water was pouring in. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did switch.
The rug was waterlogged.
The rug.
You did? You threw it out?
I did get rid of the rug. That is a new rug, but, there's still water damage.
There's some kind of mold in here. It's growing. It's growing on my eyeballs. It's ridiculous. All right, let's tell you about Golden Nugget Jewelers. That's where Philly gets engaged. And look, Valentine's Day around the corner, all of a sudden, all right, we take down the Christmas decorations and we put up the hearts, all about the red hearts. Valentine's Day. You need a gift for your loved one, for your girl, you go to Golden Nugget Jewelers. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, I mean, you name it, right? And if you're thinking about popping the question, there's no better place to get an engagement ring than Golden Nugget Jewelers. And I got your guy. So you walk in, Golden Nugget's owned by Yaron, all right? Go see Yaron, Y-A-R-O-N. Yaron's my man. I've known Yaron for, I don't know, over 20 years. Yaron's going to hook you up. All right, he's going to give you a whole education on the diamond, make sure everything's set, you feel good about it. He's going to teach you about the setting, right? And then obviously work within your budget because you don't want to be stressed about it. It's a huge purchase. It's a big, momentous occasion in your life. You don't want to be stressed about it. You want to enjoy it. Well, make sure you enjoy it. Golden Nugget Jewelers, right in the heart of Jewelers Row in Center City. GoldenNuggetJewelers.com. It's where Philly gets engaged.
He's got some nice, because the Pagan's a big gemstone fan. She likes the sapphires. Yaron's got all that stuff going on. So if diamonds aren't your thing, they got everything over there.
Well, the Pagan likes the stones.
She's a gemstone.
Yeah, I can see that.
They got nice chains, too.
I can see that.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. You ready? Here we go. 2025 is here, and my team at Parks Casino has already started rolling out the headline entertainment lineup for the upcoming year. Concerts, comedy, MMA, boxing, all at the state-of-the-art Excite Center. 1,000 state-of-the-art slots and live table games, beautiful poker room, right? Action, entertainment, excitement. They have it all at Parks Casino. Plus, you got great dining before the show at Liberty Bell Gastropub, the Beer Garden, the Parks Casino, the Parks Grill Steakhouse, Chickies and Pete's, Bamboo Noodle House, all at Parks Casino. This is how you win. Pennsylvania's #1 casino right here. Tickets on sale. January 18th. The reggae sounds of Shaggy.
But you caught me on the counter.
It wasn't me.
January 24th, actor Richard Kind, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Whoa, Larry, hey, whoa.
February 7th, country star Cole Swindell.
It's Carolina, Tales, California.
March 8th, magician Michael Carbonaro.
Yo, where'd my bike go?
March 14th and 15th, SNL's Colin Yost returns 2 nights at Parks Casino.
Come see me. I'm so much funnier than Michael Che.
Comedian Larry the Cable Guy, May 16th.
Get her done.
Here you go. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Parks Casino. All right. VG.
Yeah.
You've been teasing this.
Yeah.
You've been teasing me.
Friend of Philadelphia. Got a little words of wisdom yesterday on national show. I think we'll all like it. Someone talking some sense.
Nope. It's
Frazier, the goal change.
Goal change in the way. Yeah, the volume.
no, someone was messing with the system yesterday.
On FanDuel Sportsbook. How's this going to go?
It's gonna be a blowout. We're playing at home too.
Yes.
Yeah.
A blowout.
A blowout.
Blowout.
Is this your? So you think it's okay? So we're going Eagles Chiefs for the Super Bowl. We got that pick. It's 4.5-point.
Blowout. That's right, Darren Sproles. Blowout.
Look at that.
Yeah, man, there's just more of us getting in line. They're all in line behind me. We got a whole wagon
now,
going on.
You, Pat,
Baldy, Booger. Yeah.
And Sproles. All right. I like it.
No one's even hesitating on it right now.
Blowout, man. Blowouts that's stones. Like now, here's the thing. They match up. Birds match up. I feel good about the game. I get worried when people are talking blowouts and
Chesty.
Yeah, I don't like Chesty.
That's like a me prediction.
It is
I would be Chesty on this one.
Right.
And I'm feeling more like 7 points.
Yeah.
Like I think they're going to win the game. Like I don't have any fear they're going to lose.
I think A.J. Brown just goes off. He had 115 yards with Zaire Alexander on him. They're playing second stringers on him now. I think he has a game.
Actually, you know what's funny? I could see. I mean, obviously AJ's AJ.
Yeah.
But I like Devontae in the game.
Yeah. I mean, they're hurting and they're bad. They're secondary. Either one go, but I just think AJ's just going to dominate.
I think Goddard.
See, the only reason why it gives me pause about Goddard is Jalen hasn't really gone over the middle of the field to him. He hasn't had a lot of big games with Jalen.
It's true.
And McKinney's pretty good in the middle of the field. He's got like 14 interceptions.
Yeah.
I think 4 of them are against Hurts.
Yeah.
So maybe avoid McKinney's area.
Yeah. I see it more like I think like I see Slim Reaper.
Yeah. All right.
And listen, AJ's AJ. But again, you feel pretty.
Yeah, I do. I don't think this Packers team matches up with us talent-wise.
No pack, no.
All right, well, let's no pack, no. Let's go to our man from the All PHLY Eagle Show, where his daily check-in, the great Zach Berman, Z-Berm. What do you say, buddy?
I don't see the same thing that VG sees. I think this is going to be a tough game. I think the Eagles win, but this is you got a lot of people coming on and Sproles and Baldy and Pat, but Packers are legit. Don't sleep on this Packers team.
Nah.
Well, let's break it down. Let me moderate this between you two. All right.
By the way, another great jacket, matches the shirt, color coordinated, spot on by the wife, looking good.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Z Berm, strong.
Yeah, strong.
Yeah. She's
Thank
not
you.
only
We
great.
need to address Frazier.
By the way, Mrs. Z Berm also is an incredible tweeter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember she took over his phone. Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
For the last Packers game, actually. Yeah.
Yes, that's
I'd like to give
right.
it back there for this
It's
game.
amazing. It's bookend. Like, it's incredible. Like how we're bookending Packer games.
And you notice Zach never comes on with a gold chain over his shirt because he's
Show
got
Zach.
fashion.
Show Zach.
Yeah.
Frage, put yourself in the box. Z-Berm, look at your boy. Look at my boy right here. This is such a horrible look.
He can pull it off. I don't own a gold chain, right? I'm not a jewelry
Zach,
guy.
thank you, Zach.
I can't pull that off.
appreciate it.
He's got a
if you
Notre Dame
did-
sweatshirt, crew neck, with the gold chain over the sweatshirt.
I'm pulling the Northeast look. Come on.
You do look like you're from Port Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's making Marcus Freeman proud tonight.
All right. So let's dive into the matchup. All right, I'm going to moderate. All right. So let's talk about the Eagles' offense versus Green Bay's defense.
Yep.
All right. First, let's talk about the run game. We presume that Green Bay will try to stack the box and take away Saquon as best he can. VG, you go first.
That would not be the first team to try it. No one's been successful. We have the best offensive line, nationally recognized on the McAfee show yesterday as the top offensive line in football. So go ahead. The Ravens tried it. The Steelers tried it. You can't stop it.
Z-Berm?
Well, he is right about that. The Eagles defense has been able to run against everybody, even the best defenses. Now, I'm sorry, the Eagles rush offense. Saquon's been able to run against everybody. The Packers have two legit inside backers in Quay Walker and Nedger and Cooper. So they have speed in the middle of the field. But yeah, the Eagles have been able to run on everybody this year.
All right, so presumably if you run the football, the Eagles should be able to score. What are you thinking as far as are you worried about Jalen's rusts?
I am not.
12 throws in 3 games?
No, I'm not worried about his rust. And I think Saquon and the running game is going to open up things for him. And like I said, I think A.J. Brown is going to dominate this game.
All right, well, how do you reconcile, Z-Berb, the Eagles' offense? Is there any fear with Jalen when it comes to, this rust factor? And how do you reconcile Barkley being able to run as far as the Eagles translating that into points?
Yeah, I mean, I think Green Bay's secondary is susceptible. Now, I will say, and you saw this in week 1, that if you have a 50-50 ball up the middle of the field, Xavier McKinney can make plays on it, right? There's a reason why he has 7 interceptions this year. He's been really good. And the Eagles, the reason that game in week 1 was close is the Eagles turned the ball over too frequently. And they've cleaned that up since the bye. They really haven't had a game where those turnovers have come back to haunt them. So yeah, as long as the Eagles take care of the ball, they'll score in this game. It's just Green Bay is good at taking the ball away.
All right.
So he's admitted we're going to be able to run. The Eagles will be able to run the ball. They should be able to pass, and the Eagles should be able to score. So we sound good so far.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the other side of the ball that I'm. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go. Eagles defense against the Packer offense. VG, how do you see this go?
I think Jalen Carter dominates. I think he's a game wrecker, and I think they control Josh Jacobs. I'm not worried about Josh Jacobs.
Z-Burp?
Well, so we're starting with the running game there. I think both those backs, Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson, have played well this year. They were able to pick up chunk plays in week 1. Now, I know the Eagles have improved since then, but this is a Green Bay offense that's been really efficient, both on the ground and through the air, right? So I would be careful to say that the Eagles are going to neutralize this offense because I do think Green Bay can score.
You know what's interesting? I think I disagree with both you guys a little bit, mildly.
Okay.
Which is, I like the Eagles' defense in the matchup because here's kind of where I look at, without Watson, the Eagles match up well in the secondary against the Packer receivers, right? Like, between you go nickel with, Cooper in the middle of the field, Quignon and Slay, I think you match up well. And you have to go dime with Rodgers. I like it. I like the Packers tight ends. Kraft is good. And Musgrave will be good. He was hurt. So he's dangerous. But they don't have the guy that's going to take the top off to kind of open things up a little bit. So I do think they kind of match up. And Eagles have been a good tackling team. If this was last year where they were not a good tackling team, I would be more worried about it like you. But they've become a really good tackling team. And then on offense, I don't think it's going to be as easy to score. And I think the Packers have a good front. I do think that I don't think the Eagles are going to put up 30.
Yeah. So to the point about Green Bay's offense, and the Eagles tackling, you are right. If you go back and watch the film from week 1, that was the problem, the open field tackling. And but Green Bay is one of the best teams in the league at explosive plays. You see their explosive play rate. You see their explosive play volume. The Eagles are the best in the league at preventing explosive plays. So it's really going to be, can they limit those big plays? Because that's where...
And there's no Watson.
That's true. And he is the guy who stretches the field. Now, Jaden Reed, yard after the catch. Matt LaFleur schemes this up.
Yeah.
And they're efficient running the ball and passing the ball, right? I mean, you're looking at 27 points a game. You're looking at top 5 in DVOA. Both sides, they have an offensive line that has continuity together. They don't have a starter who's missed a snap this year. They are, you mentioned Tucker Kraft. I talked about Jaden Reed. They can spread the ball around. I think this is an offense that is able to score points. They've shown they've been able to do that.
I mean, this is the number one defense. They're going up against the number one defense in football. I think Tucker Kraft's going to get his yards. I think he's going to get his catches and his yards. But the receivers just do not frighten me with the Gene in the lineup and the way Q's been playing.
I think they're vastly different from week one.
Yeah.
Vastly different.
It's the quarterback. It's the quarterback. I mean, Jordan Love hasn't thrown an interception in the past 7 games. He's able to, he's a good quarterback that deserves respect going in this game. I think the Eagles are the better team. I think the Eagles are better on both sides of the ball. I just think Green Bay, if you told me to write down the teams that are able to win the Super Bowl, I think Green Bay is one of the teams that are able to win the Super Bowl.
Listen, I don't disagree with you. I just think, and I like Love like you like Love. My thing, I think this game's going to be played not a lot of points. I think it's going to be points I think you think it's going to be higher scoring. I don't.
Oh, no, I think it's going to be in the 20s.
What's the total?
I think it's going to be in the 20s.
Total points 45.5.
I like the under.
Okay.
I think it's stone under. Second time around, defenses are different. Playoffs, both teams are going to want to try to run the ball. I clock will move. I think it's an underplay. I think the Eagles will score like in the 20s and the Packers in the teens.
I mean, we're not that far off.
23, 24, 30, somewhere around there.
I think tackling is going to be critical here because the two things Green Bay is going to try to do is they're going to try to run the ball on you, and they're going to try to get yards after the catch, right? And so those are two things you look for in this game in particular, and two things Green Bay does particularly well.
Well, who do you worry about tackling wise?
Who?
Where are you worried? Because I thought they got buttoned up.
Absolutely. Ever since they got the Gene in there, they have buttoned that up. Now, CJ has been better in that area, especially in the latter portion of the year. He missed a few early in the season. Everything you see from the Eagles indicates that they should be able to do these things. I'm saying you have to be cautious about. They're the number one defense in the league for a reason. Like, they have earned it. I go back to what I said on Monday. This is not a 7-game series, right? And so if Love gets hot, or if you miss a tackle and a 12-yard play becomes a 60-yard play, like what happened in week 1 with Jaden Reed, then if you're saying it's a low-scoring game, it's all about those explosive plays, those dynamic plays. And to your point, a lot of these wild card games, look, the Eagles have they've played a lot of these opening round games that have been low scoring, closer, slug it out games. You think about that Eagles-Falcons game. You think about 4th and 26. You think about Eagles-Saints, the game the Eagles lost 2013 playoffs. Even 2020, even the 2010 playoffs when the Eagles lost to the Packers. The points in that game were lower than what both teams were scoring throughout the year. The Packers go on to win the Super Bowl that season. Michael Vick was outstanding. That was a game that wasn't played in the 30s, right? So I think I think to your point about this being a lower scoring game has validity, and in that case, explosive plays could be the difference. And the Packers are an explosive team, and the Eagles limit explosive plays. So it's whichever one gives. It's strength on strength.
I mean, which team do you think coming into this week, knowing the injuries and everything, is more capable of explosive plays? I mean, I would lean the Birds, I feel like.
I mean, Green Bay, their explosive play rate is but look, the Eagles' talent, for sure. I would say A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are the two best wide receivers in this game from either team, right? I would argue I would still take Dallas Goedert over Tucker Kraft, Saquon Barkley over Josh Jacobs. You go position by position, I would take the Eagles offensive line over the Packers offensive line. Elgin, Jenkins is a good player. But Zach Tom's been good at right tackle. He's not Lane Johnson. So yeah, I mean, if you match this up position by position, I would take the Eagles. I would take the Eagles over the Packers.
All right. Well, give us any news updates. What's the vibe? What's the vibe, man? You're a good vibesman.
Yeah, it's a locked in team. I would say Nick Sirianni's message has been that what gets you to this point is what's going to get you to win this point, right? So don't change anything now that you're here. You're not more intense than you are now. You don't add things to the to the system. It's like you're a 14-win team. You've been able to tackle each week. You've been able to go to Baltimore. You've been able to go to LA. You go on down the list. They have they beat the Steelers. What got you to that is what's going to allow you to win the game. So that's been the emphasis. Practice yesterday.
I love, by the way, and I was just looking at the weather. I love that they practiced outside the Linc yesterday. I love that. It's going to be 35 degrees on Sunday, probably dip into the 30, high 20s by the time kickoff comes. I think that was a smart move.
Yeah, by the way, they're doing the same thing today, and they're going across the street to the Linc. When I was on the show yesterday, we were talking about why they were doing it. The reason why they're doing it is because the turf is frozen at the practice facility. So they can either go inside, which a lot of teams do this time of year, or go across the street to the Linc where it's a heated field. Nick Sirianni says, just like you, they play outside. It's going to be cold on Sunday. That unless it's a torrential downpour or the winds are out of control, that it would affect practice. They want to practice outside. So just like yesterday, they're getting on the buses and going across the street to practice at the Linc. It stood out. So you talked about the cold weather. Jalen Hurts' his first practice out there in 3 weeks, basically. It stood out to his offensive lineman in particular, but to the whole team, that he was one of the only guys who did not wear sleeves. Jalen Hurts was he was going. He had the jersey on. He walked onto the bus with the tank top. All the offensive, Jordan Mailata was saying all the offensive linemen were in these long sleeves. They're like, that's a mentality right there from the quarterback. They thought that was intentional. I like that, man. that Jalen was doing that. And I even asked Jalen back last month about year 5 in the cold, because you got to remember when Jalen entered the lineup against the Packers in 2020, that was the first time he had ever seen snow. Yeah. The coldest that he ever felt in his life, he said, was that game in Chicago in 2022 when he got hurt. He said, I asked him about year 5 in the cold. He said, just because I say it's cold doesn't mean it's bothersome. So that's the approach that he's taking right now.
Zach, do you expect him to clear protocol today?
I would expect him to be full participant today and then clear protocol tomorrow.
Okay.
Is my guess. So I think he'll be out of protocol. My guess is he's out of protocol tomorrow, and it's just a matter of procedure at this point.
Cool.
I like it.
Hey, Zach, we've always had you here. I know you're not the biggest music guy, but if you had an at-bat walk-up song, what would it be?
Oh, I like this. At-bat walk-up song. Man, I guess it's not really a pump-up song, but actually, this isn't a good one. I was gonna say I Did It My Way by Sinatra. That's not a walk-up song. Yeah. That's not a walk-up song. I know. I always think of. Do you remember that commercial with Jeter when they had the Sinatra thing and he tips his cap? I thought that was like the coolest commercial. So I got to think of a better walk-up song than that. Here you go. I would do this. I would do and this is what I walked down at my wedding. Was the song "Don't Worry, Be Happy"?
Oh yeah,
you know that Bobby McFarland, right? Yeah, Don't Worry, Be Happy. Yeah. So I would do Bobby McFarland. I would do "Don't Worry, Be Happy."
Nice. Don't worry, that's what he's telling you. Don't worry, that's what VG's telling you, Zach.
Yeah. There you go. I like it.
My brother, great stuff as always. What's on tap for you?
Good talking, guys. So I'll be in studio at 2:00. We got a full house, 4-man show today. I'm with Bo Wolf. I'm with Fran Duffy and Professor Selman. We're breaking down the numbers, breaking down the film, and a lot of other fun stuff. So we have a 4-man show at 2:00.
Love it. Great job last night. You're the man, buddy. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon.
Z-Berm. All right. This portion of the program is brought to you by Rite Aid. Go to riteaid.com for your nearest pharmacy and store. Now, joining us, got to give him the lion to introduce him, because this is what he's been waiting for. It's Penn State for the right to play for the national championship. Mr. Nittany Lion himself, Adam Taliferro.
What's up?
What's up, man?
And BG, it's game day.
We are.
Penn State.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm in a dream right now. Like, I'm like, what? Playing Notre Dame to go to the chip? This is crazy. It's crazy.
You outside, Adam?
I'm home. I'm working from home today.
I thought you were in a convertible outside
sure
down in Florida.
I don't know why it looks like this. Like I got a sunroof on my house or something. I don't know what's going on.
I'm sure you, Mr. Counselor, are getting a lot of work done today. Game day.
It's like, you know how it is? Like I got this antsy feeling. I'm watching like all the podcasts, like all these Notre Dame podcasts, all these Penn State podcasts, trying to gather all the info. But it's man, I can't even put into words. It's the one thing. It's all I got respect for Notre Dame football. Al Golden, he was the linebacker coach when I was at Penn State.
Yep.
Mir Carlisle, the director of player development, buddy. But the Notre Dame fans, man, they're driving me crazy. Notre Dame fans.
They do that. That's what they do.
The fans. I wouldn't mind if we. I don't want to put it out there, but if we lost to Notre Dame, I'm like, hey, they're a great team. But I just couldn't. I won't be able to deal with the fandom and the text messages and the calls for the next 20 years if Penn State loses this game.
Adam, have you seen what our producers looks like today?
I have not.
Oh, wow.
I have not.
You got a real treat for you.
Show him, Frage. Show him.
Oh, man, come on, man. Hey, I got a brother-in-law that's making that same mistake right now. It's got all this Notre Dame.
No mistakes here.
Check this out, Adam. He couldn't even name Newt Rockne as a coach of Notre Dame, but he's all Notre Damed up.
They're heavy right now, man, and I'm like missing out. I'm getting all these texts from my guys that are down there in Miami right now, and Penn State is showing up. Penn State's gonna be.
How come you didn't go down?
You gotta talk to my wife about that one. You gotta talk to my wife.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of private jets that would have given you a ride.
So Ed, this is my deal. I brokered a deal, and it may come back to bite me, but I was like, hey, if the boys win tonight, I will be in Atlanta next week for the national championship.
Oh yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
I'll be in Atlanta.
But you have to be. I mean, you're Mr. Nittany Lion. Come on, man. You got to be there. Let's talk about the game, all right? And let's talk about the Penn State offense. And let's start with Allar, all right? Because there's going to be plays to be made on the Notre Dame secondary. We saw Georgia. There were a couple plays down the field. They could not catch the football. Now, here's the thing. Do you have anybody other than the tight end, other than Warren, who's the most, we know, is the most explosive player on the team, that can hurt Notre Dame down the field?
So we got a couple guys. Last game, Boise State, you made some Omari, our wired out. He's fast as hell.
Yeah.
But we just haven't, our wide receivers just haven't really produced to the level that we were hoping to see. But they're starting to come on. Trey Wallace and Omari Evans are two of our guys on the outside. Omari had a big play, a big, 50-yard touchdown pass against Boise State. Trey Wallace is a guy, number 6, who may surprise some people tonight. He had early on against West Virginia, had a great game early in the season. And Tyler Warren has been the guy in our passing game. And I know Notre Dame's going to do everything they can do to take him out of the game. So it's really going to be incumbent upon Trey Wallace and Omari Evans to make some plays, and they've shown that if with given the opportunity, they can make some plays. And I just hope our guys can hold up, because Notre Dame, that defense. Hey, shout out to Al Golden. He's got those guys playing out of their minds right now, and they're blitzing. And we've had some trouble with the blitz. I'll be perfectly honest. Our team has had some trouble with the blitz, but if we can give Aller some time, I think we can expose that Notre Dame secondary a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's the one area where they're most vulnerable. Is you can make plays, and again, we saw Georgia. Bell dropped 2 of them. Like there were 3 like big plays down the field, and Georgia dropped balls all year long. But man, I think Penn State can do that. Now it'll be interesting to see if Singleton and Allen can establish any kind of run.
Oh man, if we can run the ball tonight, Notre Dame's gonna be in some trouble. Because K-Tron has been playing out of his mind. Nick Singleton, both of those guys have just been playing amazing. But the biggest thing for Penn State is if we could play a clean game and not turn the ball over. Because if you look at that Georgia game, going into the end of the first half, they had that strip sack. Notre Dame goes in and scores, comes right back out and returns a kickoff. That's 14 points right there. So
Georgia was going in and fumbled early. No, you're spot on. Now, flip side, Irish offense against the Penn State defense. Now, obviously, it all depends. I don't know what Carter's going to play, but what does Abdul have? I think it's going to be the question.
That's the big if, and I'm sure many of you have seen Abdul's been putting out the cryptic tweets all week with. I'm not a Star Wars guy, but there's Star Wars analogies that he's healing up, and he's such a key because Riley Leonard, I'm make him beat us with the pass. I want to see Riley Leonard throw the ball down the field. He's a guy. He looks at his first target. If it's not there, he's pulling it down and running. Yeah. He's been really successful running the ball, which scares the hell out of us because that's the big thing. Having Abdul and having Tony Rojas, we've got some athletic linebackers and defensive ends. We've got to be able to keep and contain him from running and making plays with his feet.
What does this mean for the program? Like, I know how much you love Joe and love Joe Pa and the whole thing. And now that they're back and we know about, what's happened with big games and James Franklin, what's this whole thing mean? Like, look, we talked about the road. It turned out exactly the way it should, and it translates now to one game, and you're in the championship.
Yeah, and I it's hard to put into words what this would mean for Penn State, what this would mean for James Franklin, because you just said it. Coach Franklin has done a fantastic job over the last 11 years at Penn State, whether it's recruiting, just being a great ambassador for the university. But, the stigma is that he's had trouble winning what they call the big games, and it doesn't get any bigger than playing Notre Dame to go to the national championship. So if they can get this game, it'll do tremendous for Coach Franklin. He's become a friend. He's just a good guy. I would love to see this for James Franklin. He won't say he wants to see it for the guys, but I just think this would be unbelievable. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better opponent to have for this opportunity. And not to look forward, but if Penn State gets through this, it's just icing on the cake. Ohio State, they're a juggernaut right now, but for just the perception of the program, because the thing about it is Penn State and Notre Dame, they recruit the same guys, the same type of athletes, from an academic perspective. They're set. When I was, all the guys that were in my recruiting class at Penn State, we all had offers to Notre Dame, and it's still that same way today. So I think even from a recruiting perspective, this would mean a lot.
Yeah, man. The whole I still can't believe that they're playing these two. I go back to the first time I was there at Notre Dame Stadium was the old one, 1992, the Snow Bowl. I think back that all these years later, they're now going to play for the right to go to the championship is just incredible theater at the Orange Bowl.
Couldn't ask for much more, but Notre Dame fans, you guys don't got Jerome Bettis back there. You don't got the Rocket. You don't got Tim Brown.
Preach.
You just got some guys out there. So the Penn State boys are gonna be ready.
Yeah.
Penn State boys are gonna be ready.
Yes. Knit it up. Where's the roar? Let's hear the roar. Oh, come on, Freddie. Get quick with the roar.
You gotta do our respect.
Yeah.
That's respect for Adam. You give him the roar. All right. So how are you gonna watch it?
Be home. Son, my son's basketball coach tried to schedule a practice tonight. Hey, hold on. So I'll be home solo for like the first half, which I need. You know how it is, Ant. Like I like what they have all these Penn State watch parties around, alumni. I need to focus in. So I'm being.
See, I'm the same way. I like to be, just in a small setting, an intimate setting to watch the game.
And I can't even have like really my wife and kids around because my wife's asking questions, my son's asking me, about Fortnite characters. I'm like, I need to just lock in. So it's just gonna be me like in a room watching this game, yelling at the TV.
Look, you know what drives me nuts? So if I got my boys watching the game with me, I look and they're on their phone.
Oh yeah.
And that pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, either get out of the room or give me the phone. Like, don't be on your phone. I don't want to look over and you're on your phone.
Because you can't even have a conversation with them about it. You see that play? Nothing.
No,
they're just zoned out.
And these kids, all they want to, it's the whole time while you're on the game. Stop. Watch the game. Look, you want to be football players, but you want to look at your phone. What sense that make, Adam?
They're all the same, man. It's no different. My son will be doing the same exact thing. And you know what? We took his daggone iPad away because it's nonstop. And that's what he would want to be on during the game, playing his crap and watching the game at the same time.
Yeah,
this is the lock-in game. This is the start of what is it?
That's right.
5 days of playoff games, from college and pro football. So
it's the Holy Eight.
Is that what they're calling it?
Yes. That's what he's calling it.
It's Holy
I
Week,
love it, man.
Adam. The Holy Eight.
As I get older in life, I don't want to fast forward time, but I'm like, man, I just want it to be 7:30 right now.
Yeah, dude.
Let's go.
I can't wait. My brother, listen, give me a prediction.
Penn State, 24. Notre Dame, 21. 24.
21.
I like it. It's an over. I like it.
That'll be awesome. My brother, enjoy it. I'll text you during the game.
If text me anytime, man. If Penn State loses, I'm going into hiding for at least a week.
No, I don't. Dude, I don't blame you. I feel you. All right, brother. You're the best.
Hey, BG, Ed, always good talking to you guys.
Yeah, man.
There he is.
Go Knits.
The Nittany Lion himself, Adam Taliferro. Time now for the Rite Aid back in the day moment. What's he doing?
I don't know what he's doing. He's gyrating on some kind of performance. We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid. Yeah.
All right. Here we are.
Phrase.
Yeah, we're going to the snowball. We're going to actually look into the snowball.
1992.
Yeah.
I was there.
You were there?
Covered the game. I was telling you, I covered the game.
Here it is.
16, 15, 20 seconds left. Notre Dame will go for the 2-point conversion.
Oh, man. This brings back memories.
In college football, a change in conference can bring opportunity, but often at the cost of cherished rivalries. That is true today and was true 30 years ago, when the rupturing of tradition framed the memorable afternoon when Notre Dame Stadium turned into a snow globe.
It's about a below freezing afternoon in South Bend. Game time temperature 31 degrees. We're expecting an inch or two of snow accumulation possible before the afternoon is over.
November 14th, 1992, the Snow Bowl in South Bend.
The weather conditions are worsening as we speak. You mentioned it was in the 30s. Well, the wind chill probably brings it down more into the teens.
On senior day, storylines set upon Notre Dame Stadium as quickly as the flurry.
Now, Rick Meyer spent the day in the infirmary yesterday. He was unable to keep down any food, but the good news is he should be ready to go. But the question has to be his endurance. How long can he go? Can he make it 4 quarters here today?
Jerome Bettis would play a starring role, even with an injured ankle. And the sellout crowd witnessed the closing of a chapter in one of the sport's most storied rivalries. The 1980s ended with Independence winning 4 straight national titles. Penn State in 1986, followed by Miami, Notre Dame, and Miami once again. The new decade brought change. Miami joined the Big East Conference in 1991.
There it is, 1992 Snowball, man. Wow!
I thought it was snowball. I thought someone was going to throw a snowball at somebody. I didn't know we were talking about the snowball. I had no idea about that game.
Oh, come on.
Dude,
that
really?
was bad, dude.
Yeah.
You're acting like me.
You got him ripping you.
You're acting like me the last 2 days. Come on now.
Man.
All right, well, that's going to do it. What do you got? Prediction?
Nits. Nits by 5.
What do you got, Phrase?
Come on. Notre Dame.
You got a score?
By a field goal.
All right. Everybody enjoy it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. This begins the Holy 8. All right. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for a Football Friday and an Eagles preview. We love you guys. See you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.